Extinction Rebellion launched in October last year with a big declaration of rebellion outside Parliament. We're in 59 countries now, hundreds of thousands of activists ready to pour out on the streets. We are non-political. We don't tell people what to do. We don't say stop flying. We don't say stop eating meat. We're not asking anyone to do those things. What we're asking them to do is go out on the streets and protest against the government in order to create the systemic change necessary to stop us all from suffering from the worst effects of climate and ecological collapse.
February we had our kind of challenge to the fashion industry and we were blocking the roads around venues Fashion Week. Through that kind of started a dialogue with the British Fashion Council and what we've just done is written to the British Fashion Council again asking for a cancellation of London Fashion Week. You know, right now we have this situation that if you were plonked in the middle of London Fashion Week, you would have absolutely no idea that we are in an emergency situation. As a kind of a big cultural event with loads of media attention, they have a responsibility to make that known. Come Fashion Week, we do have disruptive actions planned, and the reason is because the truth needs to be told. What brands should be doing now is really telling the truth about the absolute crisis that we're in and using the platform that they have to say that loud and clear.
People need educating, and so people really don't know, and they're really shocked at the statistics that the fashion industry is the fourth most environmentally damaging industry, and just its production, clothing production, produces 1.2 billion tonnes of greenhouse gases every year. London Fashion Week, it produces annually £100 million worth of orders for more new clothing. If London Fashion Week is telling people to consume more, then it's being part of the problem.
Do we not already have enough stuff? The crazy situation is that with this boycott, we're saying kind of go without, but because we already have like abundant clothes out there, you're not going without at all. So Hire Studio, essentially we rent out clothes. Since I've been involved with Extinction Rebellion, I made a kind of pledge to myself that all the clothes we would have would be clothes that already existed rather than were made for the purpose of Hire Studio. People pay a flat monthly fee to get a certain amount of items at a time, and they can swap those items whenever they like. And that means that it starts becoming an extension of your wardrobe, which you just interchange. You can kind of stop buying clothes altogether. On the other hand, it kind of incentivizes a circular way of working for the brands that we work with. We partner with the brands so that they can start earning from the longevity of the items rather than from creating new items all the time. They have to start thinking about creating things that last. I think I haven't chosen brands that are necessarily have a perfect record, but it's about the willingness for change.
So I started working with Hire Studio not a long time ago. My brand Woven is quite a new adventure, and when I was setting it up a couple of years ago, I had more of a holistic approach to it. I was more thinking about the whole lifespan of the product. So all my pieces now come with a scannable chip, and all the stories which are related to the brand come up, all the materials, all the suppliers. I always been concerned about what happens to the product afterwards. What we offer to our clients that after a certain amount of time they have the product, let's say 18 months, they can either send the product back to us to recycle, and then they would get a voucher for the new piece, for the new product if they want to buy, or they can have the old piece taken apart and the leather part embedded into a new handbag or new jacket. I suppose it's not just the product which is kind of out there. There's a story around it and behind it, and people are a little bit more interested, and I think they then have more of an emotional attachment to the piece.
So Trade is a charity. We've been around for the last 20 years, and what we do is we promote, and what we want is people to wear second-hand over new. Each year through our shops we sell about 1 million items of second-hand clothes, and the most shocking statistic that goes along with the environmental impact of that is that from buying those 1 million items of second-hand clothing, there's a water saving of 456 million litres of water. That's because we're reducing the need for people to buy more new clothing and therefore reducing its production.
So the concept behind the Comfort swap shop was Comfort fabric softener working in partnership with Cosmopolitan and Elle, and it was part of a branded experience in which we invited consumers to come along to a swap shop and bring their clothes and swap them for something else.
We were on hand, myself and Molly, so that we could give style advice to people. The beauty of it, it's all pre-loved clothing. They were able to go home with something new but actually wasn't new, and a lot of people were able to bring things in which they no longer wanted that then went to new homes, so it was a win-win situation.
As a publisher, we are in a position where we have access to be able to pass on the information and educate people.
We'd encourage people to think, do I really need this before I buy it, or can I repurpose something within my wardrobe, to create a new look? Being able to use vintage stores, charity shops, things like car boot sales, it all kind of melds into the same ethos of the swap shop and bringing old things back and being able to breathe new life into things. Obviously the tips and advice that we can give can help consumers live a more sustainable lifestyle in terms of buying less but making it last longer.
I think if you want to make change, you have to go in quite strong. Fashion needs the Extinction Rebellion and the boycott fashion in order to make change.
Just don't have London Fashion Week. I don't believe in fashion, because something is in fashion, then it goes out of fashion, then it has a disposal cost.
Brands are currently in an amazing position of power, and they have the levers of power to make great change. So if you run a business, if you're a CEO, start thinking about your position as a person of power and influence, and what you can do to speak to other CEOs and other brands and create a community of leadership in order to make radical change.
However well you make your clothes, whatever materials you use, you are not sustaining us. The only way that you can actually make the fashion industry help in sustaining us is by using your voice and your influence to get governments to change.